Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. Was Mikey Garcia exposed against Errol Spence Jr.? And let's just break that down. A lot of people are saying that Mikey Garcia was exposed against Errol Spence Jr. And, because the popular thought, and even my prediction was that Mikey Garcia win or lose this fight against Errol Spence Jr. was that he would not get outboxed. And what Errol Spence Jr. did was outbox Mikey Garcia in this fight. It was a very interesting fight. And the reason why that we're going to go ahead and break this down is because we've gotten over 100 requests about was Mikey Garcia actually exposed. And so I just want to get into it and give you guys a simple answer. No. And let me explain to you why Mikey Garcia wasn't exposed. It's because you can't be exposed if you move up 2 weight classes to fight a bigger opponent. And, a lot of people say, well, Mikey Garcia is this and that. At the end of the day, Mikey Garcia's last fight against Robert Easter was at 135 pounds for the IBF world title at 135. Mikey Garcia moves up, fights Errol Spence Jr., a guy 2 divisions higher than where he normally fights. And at that point, you have to give Mikey Garcia the credit for going in there and taking and challenging himself with this type of fight. I thought it was more of a 50-50 fight because I believe Mikey Garcia had a good chin. I believe he had the better skill set, and I believe that his skills would be able to transcend weight classes and he'd get the victory. Unfortunately for Mikey, he was unable to make the adjustments, and he did not have the right game plan coming in, because typically when you see a fight like this, especially against an Errol Spence Jr., you would expect him to be able to make those adjustments. There was no plan B and C. We only saw plan A, and that was ultimately Mikey Garcia's demise, attempting to fight this same fighting style that he fought Robert Easter Jr. and Adrian Broner to fight Errol Spence Jr. the same way, when indeed Mikey Garcia needed to utilize lateral movement. He needed to utilize angles. He needed to come with a different and more varied attack and multiple plans just in case Errol Spence Jr. tried to box and fend Mikey off with the jab. But everything in this shows that Mikey Garcia was not exposed, for the simple fact that I'll say at least the vast majority of everyone that predicted this fight predicted a knockout. Everyone said that Mikey would lose, and in reality, Mikey Garcia, according to the odds makers, according to the fanboys, according to the pundits and the critics and boxing experts, Mikey Garcia was supposed to be stopped, dropped, and knocked out in 4 to 6 rounds in this fight. And yet Mikey Garcia went the full distance with the alleged boogeyman of the welterweight division. So the fact that Mikey Garcia goes 12 rounds with Errol Spence Jr., the supposed hardest hitting guy at welterweight, the boogeyman of the division according to some of these people, and pretty much every pundit, boxing expert, and analysis came out was basically saying Mikey would get stopped at some point in this fight. And some showed more respect than others, saying that he'd get stopped late, and others didn't, saying he'd get stopped early. Mikey Garcia can't be exposed because not only did he show a great chin, because Errol Spence Jr. threw over 1,000 punches in this fight. Errol Spence Jr. landed flush on Mikey Garcia's chin time and time again. Mikey Garcia showed tremendous defense in the first 6 rounds by parrying shots off his glove, by using head movement. He was doing a lot of fantastic things. Just offensively, his work rate was too low, and Mikey Garcia was waiting for the perfect shot. He made some fundamental mistakes and flaws in this fight, but at the end of the day, Mikey Garcia wasn't exposed, because you can't be exposed by fighting a guy 2 weight divisions higher than you. If anything, Errol Spence Jr. was exposed. And this is what I mean. And he did show some great qualities, that he could box and he could use his jab very well. And Errol Spence Jr. gets the credit for beating Mikey Garcia. I've never said he doesn't get credit for beating Mikey Garcia. I was wrong on my prediction, but I will tell you this. The fact that Errol Spence Jr. beat Mikey Garcia and didn't stop him says a lot about him. Says the fact that Errol Spence Jr. is not the puncher we thought he was at the welterweight division, because honestly, there's no excuse for him not stopping Mikey Garcia, and his power is in question now, as I've stated before the fight. I've also predicted that this fight would go the distance, and I was 100% accurate. I also stated that this was a 50-50 fight, and depending on the game plans and styles, either guy could win. I didn't say this was a blowout and a guarantee Mikey would win. I said it was to be a very close fight, a very hard fight, a rugged fight, and in that sense I was correct as well, because if you look at Mikey Garcia, he went the distance And Errol Spence Jr. did win, but like I said, it's a 50-50 fight, because if Spence wins, it will be based on size. And he did use his size to his advantage, and not necessarily as much of his power, but as of his long reach and height. And so that's still using your size advantage to defeat the smaller Mikey Garcia, something Mikey Garcia was simply just not able to overcome. So was Mikey Garcia exposed in his fight against Errol Spence Jr.? Absolutely not. Because if Mikey Garcia was fighting Vasyl Lomachenko, you could possibly say that. You could possibly say that at 135 or even 140. But not 2 divisions higher than where you're supposed to be fighting. You can't be exposed 2 divisions higher than the weight where you normally fight. That makes no sense. That's fanboy rhetoric. But once again, unbiased. As always, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.